everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today we're doing an episode of Bachelor Talks, Women Tell All. Alrighty, so last night was probably the most interesting and dramatic episode of the entire season, which is really saying a lot still because I feel like it wasn't that exciting of an episode. But we're gonna go ahead and go through the rundown, and I wanna know your guys' opinion of what happened on the Women Tell All. Any thoughts, any predictions, let me know in the comments below. I love talking to you guys about this show. So the first thing that I decided to make note on was the Tia and Becca confrontation. So Becca decided to call Tia out, rightfully so, about kind of her betrayal of Becca when they were on their 2-on-1 date, and Tia going to Arie saying she's not ready for marriage. Becca was rightfully heated about that. And the comment that stood out to me was that Becca said to Tia, "You say I don't have relationship experience, well I've been in love and you've only been with assholes and I didn't come at you." So that was a very fair statement to say. I totally get why she's being defensive. It is kind of unfair of what Tia did. I just feel like Tia sees it as she was speaking from her heart and like looking out for everyone's best interest, but her delivery and like the timing of it was just all kinds of wrong. So they had that little discussion going, which basically kicked off the night. Because next, we're gonna talk about Crystal. This was probably like the most interesting, I guess you could say, part of the episode. And I like that none of the girls were really buying into Crystal's crap, like with her defense mechanism, and she never really truly apologized for anything. She doesn't think she did anything wrong on the show. And then the producers had a little clip up their sleeve. So in case you guys didn't know, Caroline tweeted out later what was bleeped out about what Crystal said. She basically said that Arie had a needle dick and that the rest of the girls on the show were "see you next Tuesdays." So I'll let you put that together. And that was pretty shocking. And I think right then is when Crystal knew, like, there was no coming back. There was like no one, you know, giving her forgiveness. Like, none of that was gonna happen, because I felt like she was gonna walk into the night and she was gonna win everybody back and she was just gonna have a great time on the show. And then you could just see the look on her face when they showed that clip, that she was just shocked. And she probably figured that the worst was already on the show, so why would they pull anything new for Women Tell All? So yeah, pretty telling about how everyone feels about Crystal and how she felt about everyone else. And you can use being upset and anger as much as an excuse, but at the end of the day, it's pretty uncalled for. Another thing that Crystal said throughout the entire season was that everybody was desperate because they kept making out with him, kept making moves on him, kept wanting to spend time with him, which I don't understand because she was doing the same thing. And again, like, that's literally like the name of the game. Like, get as much time as you can and try to like develop and strengthen your relationship as fast as you can. So I didn't really get her whole point of, you know, still dragging out the whole everyone's desperate thing. Olivia called out her fake voice, which I talked about in a previous episode of Bachelor Talks. And I just love that she had the excuse that like she damaged her vocal cords and it took like 6 weeks for her voice to recover. Like, does she not understand like everyone can see through her BS? Like, I don't get it. But I guess at the same time, like, if you're trying to save face, you'll use whatever you can, but it's like no one's buying your excuses for anything. And then Caroline, speaking of her, she was there to like burn the whole set down that night. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But she also like called Crystal out when she had enough of her excuses, and even had the nerve to call Crystal a sociopath, which I felt took it a little bit far. Like, you could tell she couldn't really think of something to say, so she just threw out the word sociopath. But but it was still very entertaining to watch. And then as much as you want to sit there and hate Crystal, you kind of see her human side come out when she starts talking about her brother and how he was watching the show and decided to come home and everything worked out. And there's a part of me that like questions if that's truly genuine, or, you know, if she's just saying that to get people to like her and to save face. I want to believe that she was being genuine with it because we saw how awful she was at trying to save face, like the whole other segment she was on the couch. So I would like to think that she was being sincere about that, and I would like to give her credit for that. Then we move on back to Becca, and she just has like a quick thing about age shaming, and I mean, that's basically what the whole season was until she wasn't on the show anymore. And I completely agree with her because, again, I said earlier, like, Markel was 23. So it's like, what's the huge significance between a 22-year-old and a 23-year-old? So I don't know. Her age was just obviously like a plot line for the season. But it didn't really make much sense, as much criticism as it got, seeing that there were 23-year-olds on the show casted as well. Moving along, we have the Tia and Arie confrontation, and as much as I really like Tia, I like her a lot, like she was like my favorite on the show, I was kind of over it at this point because it's just like it sucks being strung along and like you think that he's on the same page as you and then you get sent home, but it's just like I don't know, it's like he wasn't that into you, I guess, and I understand that that's confusing and like hurtful, and like he wasn't really giving a lot of the girls on the season explanations as to why like they weren't moving along. But he still didn't have a satisfying answer really at all, other than saying he was a little further along with his feelings, which I don't know, Arie he still confuses me. I still don't get him. When I say Arie's confusing, I mean that in the sense that like he told Tia that he's a little further along with his feelings for Kendall than her, which doesn't make sense because Kendall is like emotionally withholding. So it's like, how, that doesn't make sense for you to say like your feelings were developed stronger with Kendall than they were with Tia. And of course, Arie could have felt stronger feelings, but the whole time he was questioning his feelings with Kendall. Anyways, enough with that. Moving along. I know a lot of people are really gunning for Tia to be the next Bachelorette. I honestly, I feel like she'd be better suited for Bachelor in Paradise, and I feel like I would enjoy watching her more on Bachelor in Paradise than seeing her as the Bachelorette. And then we'll get into picks for who the next Bachelorette should be later on. And then we had Crystal sit down with Arie, and she was just trying so desperately to like make everything seem like it was a misunderstanding and like she didn't want to come across a certain way. And then she apologized, I think, for calling him a needle dick, and he had no idea she had even said that. So talk about putting your foot in your mouth. So that definitely didn't, you know, help anything. Not that Arie was giving her the time of day or really buying into anything that she was saying. And then before I get to Caroline, I just want to make a quick comment on the movie promo. That confused me. I don't understand why it was there. Like, I just felt like this season has been so uneventful and so dull that they needed to fill more time. Like, I didn't get it. Anyways, now we're going to move on to what Caroline said and get into some possible spoilers. So Caroline wanted to really air all the dirty laundry and throw it out there. Before we get into the comment that she made, she said in an interview that when Arie went to the fantasy suite with Becca, Caroline and Becca, I guess, are very close outside of the show and like they're really good friends, so they talked. And I guess Becca told Caroline that Arie put in the mixtape that Caroline made for him while he was in the fantasy suite with Becca. Again, confusing. Why? Like, here's something that another woman tried to woo you with, and you're gonna use it to try to woo, like, your potential fiance? Again, I don't understand him. I don't. Now to the dirt that Caroline was kind of spreading and some foreshadowing, I guess we can, clearly say. She made the comment, "You're here to find a wife. I know what you did. I don't know how you could do that, and I don't really understand, but I hope you find what you're looking for." And then just to I saw this posted somewhere else. It was like a breakdown of how ridiculous Arie is and with everything that Caroline said. So basically saying how her response was being super bitchy and rightfully so. So she says "You're here to find a wife, yet all the women in your final are at least 9 years younger than you." Which, I mean, we shouldn't be age shaming. And then she said, "I know what you did. If you want to strike fear in someone's heart, you just simply lean in and whisper, 'I know what you did.'" Then she said, "I don't know how you could do that, and I really don't understand." So basically that's the classy and polite and TV friendly way of saying "you sick fucker." And then lastly, I hope you find what you're looking for is code for "I hope you die miserable and alone." So I just thought that that was something funny that I saw about the meaning behind her little speech at the end of the show. So before I get into possible spoilers, I want to talk to you guys about who you think would be good for the next Bachelorette. Based off of anyone that's left, I would love to see Cien as a Bachelorette. I think that she would be absolutely fantastic in that role. A lot of people are saying Caroline because of how she made such a presence in herself on Women Tell All when she wasn't really that present on the show. I would like to see her in Paradise though. Kendall, I heard a lot of people say that if she doesn't make it until the end, a lot of people would like to see Kendall as the next Bachelorette. I can see her as being an interesting choice, but I can also see her doing really great on Paradise. For me, personally, it would honestly be between Cien and then Becca, that's still in the final, that's still in the running. If she doesn't get picked for whatever reason, I think that she would be a fantastic Bachelorette. So let me know your picks in the comments below, and let's get into the spoilers. So word on the street, and it has been for quite a few weeks, that the final two are Lauren and Becca, and he gives the final rose to Becca. However, after the show ends, he breaks it off with her to get back together with Lauren. So I will let you guys comment on what you think about that below and keep the comments to myself. I think that this makes sense. I could see that happening. I honestly still feel that Becca is the best choice for him. But that would also explain why Caroline was also so heated and so F you in the Women Tell All, because again, her and Becca are really close friends. For her to be that upset, I think that that's what might happen. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I will have the Fantasy Suite Peru episode up tomorrow, so be sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.